Okay, so I am Agnes Baker, the waitress.
Not an actual baker.
No, I'm not Agnes, waitress the baker either. But I do remember another life, one of sorcery and conquest. And so...
Another cancelled LCE.
Exactly. So Agnes Baker may just be an unassuming waitress in this life, but in a previous life, in a time and age undreamed of in the modern world, she had been a powerful witch. It began when she found a strange artefact, a key of some kind, in a dusty collection of family belongings in her attic. When she touched it, the memories came flooding back, along with one word: Hyperborea. The more she delved into the visions and memories of her former life, the stronger her powers grew, and the more frightened she became.
And your quote in the front?
That was, I remember another life, one of sorcery and conquest.
Gotcha.
In Hyperborea.
Apparently so.
Well, that sounds very similar to the world that Conan comes from.
It is.
Wait, what is it?
Well, I think he's... Was he Hyperborea?
No, it was... but it was something like that.
It was something along the lines of Borea.
There's a board game called Hyperborea. Dungeon crawler thing.
It sounds pretty uninteresting, Barry.
No, it's apparently quite good. Whatever. Why don't you go check out the clues in that corner, Dan, and leave me to my...
leave us to our reference files on this side of the table.
Okay. So, I am going to excitingly draw a card.
So that's one action.
I am then going
Cards,
to...
who needs them?
Quite important.
I can see your hand there.
Oh no!
Yeah, now the game does recommend to role plays if you're in character. Now we're not quite having to dress up and LARP, but rather than say, well, I can chuck in 2 icons to your test. Oh, something I didn't mention. If another investigator's at your location, they can also add a card to your test, but only 1. If it's your test, you can add as many as you want. If you're assisting somebody, you can add 1. So rather than say, well, I can add 2 combat, you say, well, I can help you fight. That makes sense? Yeah. But you can do what you want. It's a co-op game. Make your own fun.
I am going to draw another card.
What's he looking for?
Something I've not found. And then I am going to...
So you built these decks, right, Barry?
I did, yeah, but there's very limited deck building in the box. They're mostly monocolour, a couple of splashes. As the game progresses, you'll get more and more player cards, which will let you customise your deck more fully. But what is quite interesting about it is that it costs XP to swap cards as well. So whenever you're playing a campaign and something like this is a short campaign in the base box, it's only 3 scenarios, but the 9 scenarios of the first cycle, for example, you're not just going to be buying more powerful cards if you play it through. When you get a new pack, you're going to be wanting to add some of those into your deck, and that will use up XP as well. Yeah.
And so finally I'm going to play down Forbidden Knowledge, which is a talent asset. It's going to get 4 secrets on it, so 4 charges. And that's going to let me exhaust it to take one of these secrets as a resource, and I'll gain 1 horror for doing so.
Oh, that sounds terrible, Dan. Why would you do that?
Well, there is... Well, resources are resources, Barry, but also my character ability is after 1 or more horror is placed on Agnes Baker, I can deal 1 damage to an enemy at location once per phase.
Yeah, no enemies at the moment, but...
So I'm not going to take any of those, just getting it down there ready.
Cool beans. And then you're done, so we flip you over to your black and white side.
So basically, as you go insane, you deal damage to things.
Exactly.
Do you have a method for recovering sanity?
Maybe.
Yes.
Fine. Skids. Skids O'Toole. Great name. I didn't get out of the joint just to watch the world end. Skids didn't plan a life of crime, but sometimes doing the right thing means getting your hands dirty. The cops didn't care that Skids needed the money for his mother's operation. His mother died of her illness during the 2nd year of his sentence. His cellmate, Brad Hollins, told him there were worse fates than death. He ranted and raved in a quiet voice every evening about the old ones, and told Skids about bizarre adventures he'd had while dreaming. Skids didn't give it much thought until the night he woke to the sight of his cellmate bursting into flames. When Skids was finally released, he returned to Arkham looking for answers. And here I am in your study, and now the door's gone.
It's okay, the study's full of books and they've got the answers.
The night is dark and full of terror. It's a different game. Right, I'm also not going to help too much, so I'm going to play Emergency Cash, which gets me 3 resources to spend. That just goes to my discard pile. Then I'm going to play Leo DeLuca. Now he's a slightly upgraded version, so he's a little cheaper, but he gives me a 4th action.
So then now there's just some other guy that's shown up.
So this guy is just kind of coming through the window. So he is an ally. He takes up the ally slot. And then I know I've got 2 more actions. I'm going to anticipate that bad things are going to go down. I'm going to play my gun, my Derringer. Costs 3, gets 3 charges. Excuse me.
Derringer famously can only be fired 1 time.
Yeah, but you can reload it. These are 3 bullets. And then finally, I will perform an investigate action. Now, I'm not putting any cards in. If anybody wants to assist, they may, but...
How many, what's your investigate? 3?
So my investigate's 3 against a target number of 2. So there's a number of things in here that make me fail. It's about 50-50-ish, I think.
I feel like I could help you, but that it might be overkill. How are we doing?
We're not under... so far, fine. Like, if we take a couple of turns to clear out this room, not a massive deal.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like we'll take a punt and then we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to draw a skull, which is minus none. So 3 beats 2. I get a clue. That goes back in the bag. And then I go to sleep.
So Danny, you're the only one that remains clueless.
Hey!
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
In spite of my forbidden knowledge.
Right, so that is the end of the investigation phase. We would then move into the enemy phase, but there's no enemies on the board at the moment. So we continue to upkeep, so that lets you refresh. Anything that you've exhausted during your turn will ready. We're going to get 1 resource and 1 card each.
Oh, cool.
So this just happens automatically. Again, if you pull a weakness at this point, you have to play it as a revelation. If it's one of those cards.
And it's at this point you check your hand size, right?
And then, yes, during this phase, if you're over 8, then you have to discard them. But now we're going to move into the Mythos phase. So that was something that didn't happen during the first round, but every other round it's going to happen. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to place 1 Doom token on the agenda. So the target number there is 3. Whenever there's 3 Doom on the agenda, or on other cards, then that's going to advance to the next one. So similarly, how we're trying to get 6 clues on here, once there's 3 Doom on there, it'll move to the next phase.
If you looked carefully, you'll notice that Doom is like evil clues.
Yep, there's 2 sides of the same coin. Whoa. And then we're going to see what bad things happen.
Okay.
So, Mike, if you would like to draw one of these cards here.
But how will the bad things get in?
The same way Leo DeLuca got in.
The window!
He left the window open.
Oh no, obscuring fog is coming in the window.
Could have done without that.
Is it bad, Barry?
It's not great.
Okay, obscuring fog, not great. Right, hazard. Also it says treachery on it. Revelation, attached to your location. Limit to 1 per location. Attached location gets +2 shroud. Forced. After attached location is successfully investigated, discard obscuring fog.
Okay, so remember how our target number was previously 2?
Now it's
Our
4.
target number is 4, yeah.
But that's fine, because I can use my flashlight to clear it,
Yeah.
and then it'll be gone.
Correct. So it's not so bad at this stage,
So,
especially with you
Take
being
note, people at home. Fog. Defeated by flashlight.
And then, that's fine. So everybody gets their own.
What do you mean?
Well, that's your one.
Oh, God.
Okay, so I have gained a Flesh Eater, which is a ghoulish monster. He's supposed to spawn in the attic, Barry?
Yep, correct. So this was something we never got right the first couple of times. If a spawn location is not in play, ordinarily if you get an enemy, he's going to immediately engage you. He's going to go into your area, you have to deal with it. Other people can take it off you. But if there's a spawn location, it'll go there. If that location is not in play, it gets discarded.
And do I have to now draw another one? Or?
Nope. No, there's a surge ability that would mean you'd have to draw a second, for example, but in this case,
Okay.
Fine.
So that was a narrow escape from the flesh eater.
Yep.
Hey.
And I got a ghoul minion, so I do have a monster that's engaged with me. Luckily, however, I put my gun down last time. So let's just have a quick talk about how monsters work. The number on the left is their target combat number. The number in the middle is the number of hit points. And the number on the right is their evade number. So combat is checked against combat, and evade is checked against agility. When I go to shoot him next turn, we'll do the checks against the combat number.
So he's engaged with you specifically.
Because I drew him, and because there's no reason for him not to be, he will immediately engage me.
Is there, could I, on my turn, come and be like, I'll help you out, Barry?
Yes, you can. So there's two ways of helping somebody who's engaged with an enemy. One, you can straight up attack it without engaging it. If you miss, you hit me. Alternatively, you can take an action to engage it with you, and then you can attack it freely without any repercussions.
Right. But I feel like, given my position as the librarian and yours as the ex-con with the gun,
You
I
continue
might
looking
just
for clues.
leave this well alone.
I'll fight this guy. He's
Look, I've got my own
through the
combat.
window.
I'm defeating fog with flashlight. You defeat ghoul with gun. This has worked out. So, are we ready to go?
And so that's the end of the mythos phase. Back to the investigation phase. You've got your 3 actions again.